Hi there, YouTubers. Hi, this is Alex of the North Carolina Psychical Investigations Institute coming to you with a video talking about a lot of the tools that I use in seances and ghost investigations or ghost hunting investigations, and also with a note on skepticism and being critical of the things you're using, the tools and the things you're investigating. I think too often investigators aren't critical enough, especially these days. Well, really, it's been that way in studies of the paranormal ever since people really started studying it in the 1800s or late 1800s. But yeah, I want to show you some of the tools that we use, or that I use anyways, and just give my commentary on them. First off, one of the most important pieces of equipment you can have is an infrared camera, and this is a cheap one right here, relatively. It runs on AAA batteries, and I have rechargeable ones if you see that. Anyways, this is one of the most important pieces of equipment you can have. It documents the investigation or your seance or whatever you're having. And one thing I want to stress here, there's a lot of mediums in seances. They'll say things like infrared camcorders affect the energy of the seance, which is complete crap, honestly, and any skeptical person will tell you that. And it's true, because usually when they refuse to let you use infrared equipment, if they're having seances or investigations in darkness, or even semi-darkness, then it's an excuse just to hide whatever tricks might be going on, I guess, and this is a good way of documenting everything. Now, with that being said, I recommend that your team or the group of people that you have seances or ghost investigations with, I recommend that you make sure you can trust them, that they're people you know. That way, that everyone has a serious mind about them. They want to study this stuff. They actually want to do so in a serious way, and they don't have any preconceptions about what the phenomena are. I mean, you need skeptical people in the mix. You need people who will evaluate the things in a very critical manner, because if you don't have critical people, or people with critical eyes in a investigation, then you'll probably mistake every bump in the night for something that a ghost did, and it's sad to see that a lot of paranormal investigation groups are actually doing that these days. But anyways, very essential piece of equipment right here, I think. Also, another thing which you can't ever underestimate is a cell phone or some other type of walkie-talkie, and radio type things are also necessary, but mainly cell phones. I'd say that they're a very good thing to have, especially when you're going in investigating a decently big location, because you need something to keep in touch with everyone around you in case somebody gets hurt. And speaking of that, you also want to have like a first aid kit or something like that. But yeah, this is very essential. Keep your cell phones on. If you have to, put them on vibrate or something, though, because having your cell phone go off during an investigation can be pretty distracting. But have one of these. These are good. Alright, you guys, this is a pretty ingenious device right here. It's a black light. And that goddamn rooster's... Sorry. Anyways, this is a black light. A lot of people believe that, I mean, this is a superstition, but a lot of people believe that black lights actually push spirits out of locations and into, in other words, they believe that using these damn things will push spirits from one location into another. And it's a really, honestly, an ignorant superstition, in my opinion. But in a practical sense, these do help you. Well, I guess you can check for fingerprints and things like that. You can, I don't know, I just like having them. For one thing, they're cool. But flashlight, this is the main thing I want to show you. This has two settings. I have the black light and the flashlight on it. But yeah, flashlight, this is pretty self-explanatory. You can see where you're going, because a lot of times people will walk around in near darkness, and I think that's a bit redundant in ghost investigations. You don't have to go about at night, but a lot of people do that, and it kind of fits with the scene. But keep in mind that walking around a haunted location at night, if you think it is haunted, tends to heighten your suggestibility. So from a psychological standpoint, you're going to expect more to happen. So people might have false sensations, like they might feel themselves being touched in certain areas. And if they know things about the haunted location already, like if they know the location where the activity is supposed to happen, then basically they will probably falsify, maybe even subconsciously, that, like, let's say that there's a room in a house that people allegedly get pushed in. Now, if they go into the room and they know that already, then they might actually unconsciously project that out. They might have a false sensation that they're being pushed. And that's one reason why I think it's a bit redundant when people know about the phenomena beforehand that's happening at a haunted location. A lot of people do that just so they can check the evidence later and see how it matches up. But I think that it makes it easier to falsify results, and it makes it harder to detect real significance from them, because if you're going to a haunted location, if it's haunted, period, then you're not going to need to know very much about the haunting itself beforehand, because if you know a lot about it, then you can actually fake some of the results even, if you wanted to. But if you don't know about it beforehand, it lessens the amount of, it makes it easier to detect genuine, possible paranormal anomalies and sensations that the people might have. Because if you don't know about the investigation, and let's say you walk into a room that's haunted, and you didn't know that the ghost was supposed to push you in the room, and you got pushed, and then you told the person who owned the house or the location later that you had gotten pushed in that room, and they hadn't told you anything about that, then that adds to the evidence. But if you already knew about it beforehand, then it really doesn't add very much to it, or detract necessarily, but it really doesn't do anything to benefit the investigation itself. And that is one reason why in an investigation you don't need to know beforehand what is going on. Especially if you're using a psychic or a medium, or an alleged psychic or medium. I'm going to put quotations around that. You know, my astral quotations and shit. But be skeptical. Be very skeptical. Take all the precautions you can. If you're working with a psychic or a medium, you know, there's already a lot of stigma around those types of people. And if they do possess some type of genuine paranormal capability, then by them not knowing what the haunting is about, if you can somehow set up precautions so that they don't know what house they're going to, so they can't do research on it, or if you even, you know, I remember there was a old thing that O'Keefe did with Derek Ackara, the alleged British medium. He faked, or he told him that there was some sort of spirit there in some house, and he faked a spirit basically. And Ackara basically had a fake possession, or he pretended to be possessed and whatnot, and that was a good way of catching him out in fraud. So the thing is, be skeptical. Do everything you can to make any genuine paranormal anomalies shine. Because you don't want to be fooled, and you don't want people to ridicule you because of what you get. You want to be as skeptical as you can, and you want to get to the truth. And that's all with this. I got off subject. Alright, and here's another very simple one, a candle. Use this when your electric equipment dies. Sometimes people report that electric equipment dies in haunted locations. And a normal explanation for that is some places have high humidity levels, and sometimes that actually gets caught in the electrical equipment, and all you have to do to fix it is take the battery out, wipe it off, and put it back in, and then your equipment will cut right back on. But in case that ghosts really did drain your battery equipment, candles. Have a lot of them, and that'll help you, or even have a separate flashlight or something. Alright. Okay, this is a digital recorder, and I got it from ghoststop.com. This is actually called the RT EVP. It is a brilliant device. It has a regular thing that allows you to have real-time EVP sessions, and also it has a spirit box built into it. And if you don't know about the spirit box is an alleged device that, well, I mean, all it does is it scans radio frequencies in a very choppy manner, running through the different frequencies, and it tries, the theory is that spirits can overlay their voice onto the radio signal. And what I think is happening, and what most other skeptics think is happening, is that we're basically pulling out random words from the jumble of things that comes in from the radio sweep. Yeah. And all that does is basically, it's a sort of pareidolia, I guess. You're asking questions, and as the scan goes through the words, you're picking out the words that make sense to the question you asked, or that are applicable to the question you asked. And you have to be very skeptical of those because, well, that's self-explanatory. There's no real paranormality going on. Well, even if there is, with that, it's best to avoid that sort of thing, because that just raises even more skepticism than is already associated with EVP. Because as you know, or as you may not know, I don't know, but EVP, or capturing EVP, they have several normal explanations. One of them is pareidolia, listening to random noises and random sounds and forming them into words. Like you might hear even, like let's say even like a little scratchy noise or something that you accidentally record. If you don't document what that was during your investigation, you could interpret that sound as a word. If you ask a question, and that rooster is driving me fucking insane. But, okay, and also, these things are really sensitive to pick up radio signals. Well, actually, I don't believe this is, but that is one explanation. It actually is very rare that these pick up radio signals. They can, and when this is in the spirit box mode, it definitely can do that. But basically, one thing you can do to avoid that is put this in some sort of Faraday cage, wrap it in aluminum foil if you want to. But a shitload of aluminum foil, by the way. I did an experiment in an older video, which basically was to test to see what would block out radio waves and whatnot. Now, the RT-EVP is a very nice device, actually. It's very sensitive. It has an adjustable sensitivity rating where you can actually you can probably pick up sounds from a great distance away. And you can adjust that. You can make it where it's less sensitive, which is a very nice setting. But I don't really recommend spirit boxes. You can use them if you'd like, but all they do is heighten skepticism, because you're basically picking out words from nothing. You're finding significance in nothing, basically. And it is a bit ignorant. Now, the EVP are using... Okay, there are basically a few explanations for normal EVP. You have pareidolia, you have the picking up of radio signals, stray radio signals, and you have a couple of other explanations, but those are the main ones. Now, people, they'll make sense out of nothingness. That is basically what pareidolia is. Now, be aware of that. You need to, I think that it's very important for people to have an understanding of basic psychology if they intend to study the paranormal, because you need to know about basic human functioning. You need to know how our mind operates. Even on a basic level, it really helps to sort out things that might be paranormal from things that are normal. And it's very important. Okay. This device right here, it's another thing I got off of ghoststop.com. It's called the Spirit Touch. Brilliant device. You cut it on. Okay. You touch it. The only thing that makes this red light go off is a discharge of electrons near it. So when I touch it, it comes on. Touch it again, it goes off. It takes a minute for the light to cut off on its own once it's on. But, so it's a good way of detecting ghosties, right? Now, this is an improvement over a thing that you see on ghost hunters a lot of times and shows like that, where they use a flashlight. They'll turn a flashlight, a particular flashlight too, they'll turn it to a frequency, or a setting, I guess, that is, all you have to do to turn it on is just touch it. And there's actually a thing in a flashlight, a natural thing if you know anything about science, where there's a heat cycle that comes in the flashlight. And there are videos and also other sources. Just go on the internet and look up heat cycles and, you know, electrical equipment like that. But in the flashlights that turn like that, when they're set to that particular setting, I don't really like using that word for that, but anyways, when they're set like that, naturally the light will cut on and off by itself. So when you see the light over in the corner and it cuts on, it's probably not a ghost. It's probably just a natural thing, because you can actually set it up somewhere and it'll cut on and off by itself if you leave it for a significant amount of time. Now with this device right here, I've had it sitting for a long time. It's very nice. It's actually designed specifically for the ghosties, right? Now, you touch it, the red light comes on. There's no other way this could go off. I mean, electrons have to discharge near it. You don't even have to touch it sometimes. See? I didn't touch it, but the light came on. Electrons have to discharge near it. So actually, any sort of static electricity would cut it on as well. As long as it's away from a person, this device is brilliant. Now, personally, I haven't used it enough, but I've never had the light go off. So, well, I mean, I've had the light go off, just not in a paranormal manner. So if this were to go off and it's not near anyone or near any... well, actually, a cell phone will not make this go off either. See my cell phone again. Well, actually, well, that's probably because I touched it. But you put it near it, and plus my hand's near it. But, okay, well, actually... Huh. I guess a cell phone will make it go off. Yeah, actually, they said that it wouldn't do that in the thing. So actually, well, I guess that's an electromagnetic. Okay. Well, anyways, I was wrong there. But as long as nobody's near it, it should work perfectly fine. Just keep electrical equipment away from it. Don't put it near your pockets or near anything electrical. Don't touch it. Put it off somewhere where nobody's around it. Not near any electrical equipment. And if it goes off, yeah, that's a very interesting thing. But, I'm going to put this down. Anyways, the point is, you need to retain a sense of open-minded skepticism when studying these things. It really is not beneficial to understanding humanity or the phenomena if you simply dismiss it all. Now, with that in mind, you have to be very critical. You don't want to be fooled. You don't want to be tricked into believing something that's not true. You do want to get to the truth. As a scientist, as a student of, as a human being, you really need to understand the phenomena. It doesn't really do anything to go chasing unicorns. The only reason that studying this phenomena is really worth it is because of what it is, what it claims to be. And people have reported this type of thing a lot. People see ghosts all the time, and we don't know what they are. People have seen ghosts, we just don't know if they're hallucinatory or if they're real. And you need an understanding of basic science, and especially psychology if you're studying this sort of thing. And physics, too. Physics would help, but that's more for the theoretical side of things. But keep in mind, when you're studying this sort of thing, stay skeptical. Do not believe in anything without evidence. You need evidence, and you need to be critical of it. You need to be critical of the evidence. You need to be critical of everything. If you're not really doing any good in studying the type of thing that, this type of thing. And those are my words of wisdom for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, basically be open-minded and discerning. Some of the equipment, this is just some of the equipment that I like to use. You can find the Spirit Touch device and the RTEVP on GhostStop.com. And no, I don't work for GhostStop.com, so I'm not marketing or advertising for them. But they do have nice equipment, I'm not going to lie. But keep in mind that a lot of the things that people claim are paranormal have perfectly normal explanations. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this video.